Hello, Brave Awakened Ones. This is Veronica of Higher Realm Holistics, Lady V. Thank you, supporters, subscribers, and Patreons. Please share these videos with those who you think it might resonate with. If you're interested in any of my services, books, merch, t-shirts, webinars, sessions, and higher realm magic information and meditations, please visit higherrealmholistics.com. Good day, Brave Awakened Ones. QV here. What's up? We got this. It is the 19th of April, 2020, early morning, good Sunday morning. I'm down here in Miami Beach, Florida, and the beaches have opened a few days ago, so I am going to go hit the bike path. Yay! Excited. Tired of riding around the neighborhood and skating around the neighborhood, getting a little bored. Any which ways, I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you, everyone, for your prayers and your assistance. I did receive assistance for my BFF. She is starting to get better. You know, straight up, she's a normie. This is my normie BFF, okay, down here. And it's difficult to get them to listen, okay? And even yesterday, she finally was like giving in completely and was now has decided to do everything I've been telling her to do, because I had told her when this whole coronavirus thing started to take all this stuff prophylactically. I showed her what I was taking. I said, get it for you and the kids, do it. You're working on the floor. They converted her floor to a COVID floor. I'm like, listen, do it. Okay, just to stay healthy, especially since I see there's a big connection between diabetes and people who are highly susceptible to getting the COVID. She's only in her 40s. Now, my uncle who passed away was in his 80s, okay? And then you have my cousin who's my age also who has it. My cousin was taking care of my uncle. He has COVID also. He tested positive. He also is diabetic. My BFF, normie friend, is diabetic. My uncle was diabetic. And I was talking to my sister, who's also a nurse, and another friend, and they also are seeing this connection with the diabetes. Okay, I also know the anti-diabetic oral medications weaken your immune system and make you highly susceptible to more things. So there's another connection. Again, it's still connected to diabetes. So I'm wondering if other people did research on that. You know, I'll look it up, but I already know. I already told her. I've been in the field for almost 17 years. So I was like, you're diabetic. You especially have to be careful. She didn't listen, so she came down with it. She came down with it hard, okay? Right now, she's doing the nebulizer treatment with the colloidal silver. Lucky for her, I was stocked up, so I drove an hour and a half north where she is to deliver it to her along with a whole bunch of other stuff. And yes, she's getting your organic tonic water, vitamin A, vitamin D, liposomal vitamin C. And fortunately, a wonderful subscriber, I'm not going to call out no names, we got our hands, we're going to get our hands on what she needs because she has been ill for 2 weeks. Okay. So again, the hospital's refusing to treat her fully. I know there's a lot of doctors out there, not here in South Florida, saying that IV vitamin C works. Yes, it does. They won't do it. They will not admit her. She went twice to the ER. I was about to go a third time. I'm like, WTF is wrong with you? Get your freaking ass back home. She didn't listen until she got extremely sick, almost getting there, and then went back home and started doing the nebulizer treatment. So it's very difficult, the normies. My BFF in New York, who is a light worker, had to talk me down and be like, listen, you know, she's a normie. Help her. She has 2 little kids. She has a baby. Help her. So I was like, okay, it's very hard. So light workers out there who are dealing with these normies, who don't want to freaking listen, you just want to shoot the shit out of them. Yeah, okay. If you love them, we all have unconditional divine love. But, you know, if you're very close to them, you know, it's like, bite your tongue and keep pushing out there, especially if it's a life and death situation. And when she called me, she was like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Her lungs were shutting down. She was hallucinating. total hallucinating. It was awful. And they would not admit her. They don't care. Big medicine does not give two shits. They give no fucks about medical staff. They really don't. And this is why I'm not working for them. This is why I was a director twice. I butt heads constantly and walked out both times because of the disgusting behavior of upper management, of corporate. But there are many out there who are willing to comply, many normies who have no problem selling their souls. I've had a manager say that to me. If corporate tells me jump, I tell them how high. Yeah, corporate also screwed her over and escorted her out like a freaking criminal. When she broke her ankle or something and then couldn't make something. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. So yeah, all those hospitals putting up things, how we appreciate our workers. I don't know, maybe some do, but I worked in New York, Atlanta, and Florida. I've yet to see it. Okay? Any which ways. So, so when it comes to what this topic is about, it is about ghosting. Yes, ghosting's a thing nowadays. It's been going on for a long time, but because the narcissistic spirit has been increasing via social media, texting, the more we distance ourselves, the less responsibility we take for our actions, okay? With texting, I saw was the boom of ghosting, okay? Emailing, faxing, literally anything to not face the person, face consequences, even with the person's voice, okay? Ghosting. It is a narcissistic personality trait. It is part of that narcissistic spirit. Does it mean people who do ghosting are narcissists? No, but every narcissist does ghost. Every narcissist has done ghosting, but not every ghoster is a narcissist. Okay, let's get that very clear. Can you come back after being a person who likes to ghost because you are emotionally immature and you don't like to face responsibility? Yes, very much so. First, let's get into the Wikipedia definition of ghosting. Okay, well, it's not. It's Life Science. I'm sorry, not Wikipedia. Yeah, their definition wasn't correct. I didn't feel, but lifescience.com. When being ghosted, okay, that's the being ghosted part. Here we go. Ghosting, yes. Which is a verb. They're saying noun. It's a verb when you're ghosting. Okay, so this is kind of incorrect. It's a verb. The practice of ending a personal relationship with someone by suddenly and without explanation withdrawing from all communication. Period. Said very nice. One day you're talking to the person. Next day you're returning a text, returning a call, or you're supposed to meet them somewhere. And you could be ghosted business-wise also. That has happened to me. Somebody making an appointment saying, okay, great, we got it set. Let's do this. And then no call, no show, as we say. There's plenty of people who do that at work. In the medical field, we call it no call, no show. Meaning you didn't call out. No one knows where the F you are. No one knows what's going on. No call. You didn't show up. No call, no show. Right up fire, depending on the situation. I've had to do that myself as a manager and director. No call, no shows. I'm pretty strict and stringent when it comes to stuff like that. The whole ghosting thing. I find time to be the most valuable asset we have here in the physical. To me, time is valuable. I know people are going to say, there's no such thing as time. You're in this physical realm. Sun rises, sun sets, sun rises. You got shit to do when the sun is up, right? Or when the sun's down, depending on who you are. If you work night shift, you know what I'm talking about. We do have to go according to some clock. It doesn't have to be the Gregorian clock, but there is something going on. There is such thing as time, quote unquote. To deny it, you are foolish. Any which ways. You don't have to agree with me. Move on if you don't like what I'm saying. So any which ways, time to me is extremely valuable. And when you honor somebody's time, it's a sign of respect. If you dishonor somebody's time via ghosting is, to me, mucho disrespect. You couldn't disrespect me more. I'm such a freaking guinea. I'm a cousinette. Okay, I was raised in a real Italian neighborhood. Mega disrespect. Mega disrespect. Okay? I didn't run across that too much in New York. I really didn't. It's when I moved down south. I lived in Atlanta for 3 years. I've been down here for almost 11 years in South Florida. That is when ghosting happened. Oh, I also did live in Los Angeles, in California, Hollywood. I was like 19, 20 years old. I did live out there for a year. And yes, even back in the early 90s, ghosting was a big thing out there because narcissism is strong out there. And you will find that whole ghosting thing a lot with people who are in that type of field. Modeling field, acting, that whole Hollywood scene, even sports, that whole type of scene, you'll find a lot of ghosting. You will. That's like where the majority is. I've noticed through my own life experience, I'm saying, because I worked in New York as a model, big time. Yeah, it was like just like the medical field. No call, no show. You're never going to work with that photographer again. California was a bit more laxed. I remember shooting a video and, I did backup dancing. So we're there and like people not showing up on time. And it was like, WTF. It's like, because I also worked at a law firm. It's like, okay, we're supposed to be shooting this video, blah, blah. I don't have all freaking day. Let's do this, So that's how I feel about ghosting. It's disrespectful. What does that say about the person who is the ghoster? Sorry about that. When being ghosted, people often take it to reflect on themselves, their own wrong behavior, imperfections, and flaws. Okay? So the person being ghosted, yeah, you do feel that way. It's like, what did I do wrong? What did I do to you to cause you to disrespect me in such a manner where you can't even so much as return a text or an email or a phone call, that you just drop off the face of the earth and leave somebody hanging? That really, depending on how strong or weak that person's sense of self is, sense of self-value is, can really crush a person. I've had a lot of clients be completely crushed by that. Counseled a lot of kids because, I worked in adolescent psych that was really crushed by that. Have I ever ghosted anyone? No, because I grew up that way in New York, very stringent about respecting people's time. Rarely am I even late. If I'm late, something's up, something's really wrong. Okay. And I immediately apologize. I'm big on apologizing because I take it as such. I take it so seriously. Okay. So yes, it really wears away at somebody, especially if it's a personal thing. Less so if it's a business thing. Like I said, I've had that happen many a times. No call, no shows. Not just working in a hospital, but even what I'm doing now, with clients. No call, no show. Or working on my other things that I'm working on. No call, no show. And it's like, really? Okay, you're lost. But when it's more personal, that is where the real hurt comes in. And I am no different. I am no stranger to that hurt. Trust me. Okay, but ghosting actually reveals more about the personality of the ghoster than the ghostee. And there's a whole vernacular connected to this shit. Okay, so the ghoster is the person doing the ghosting. Okay, the no call, no show person. And the ghostee is the person who's being left hanging. Okay, ghosting is most similar to avoidance and the mediated communication strategies. Okay, so it's about avoidance, avoiding responsibility. That's what ghosting is all about. It's about avoiding responsibility because you don't want to get rejected. So one part of it is, I don't want to get rejected, so I'm going to reject that person first. I'm feeling insecure about the relationship instead of manning up or womaning up and saying, I changed my mind. I don't think it's going to work. If you're not strong enough to do it via voice or in person, text, email, shit, smoke signal, something. Slip a note underneath the person's door. Okay. But I'm really digging into this because there are good people out there with good hearts. There are people out there with really good hearts who I see that this is a real obstacle to their ascension, to their evolution, because it is a block. This is a block. Ghosting, having a habit of ghosting, not being able to face responsibility, inability to handle rejection. You rather ghost, pop up a year and a half later, roll up on somebody, pop up a year and a half later and shock the shit out of them. And be like, hey, oh my God, it's you. And expect that person to what? Run into your arms? No. First words out of your mouth should be, I'm sorry. I'm sorry goes such a long way. And it's I'm sorry without attachments to it. I have said I'm sorry a cajillion times without attachments. I have said, I ain't gonna lie and say I didn't cheat on a guy or two, right? I wasn't the best little girl. No, I was not, okay? I womaned up. I'm really sorry. Caught out there. Don't expect you to forgive me. Just know that I did it because I was feeling da-da-da. That wasn't the right way to handle it. I should have been more forward. I'm sorry. And that's it. Okay? A good fire way to get shot down after ghosting somebody for however how long is to just roll up on them and act like that never happened. To not acknowledge that you might have fucked up. You might have done something that really hurt them and to cause them to completely distrust anything that might float out of your mouth, even hello. That person can distrust your hello, okay? Let alone want them to even lay your hands on them, okay? It is a narcissistic personality trait. Again, not every ghoster is a narcissist, but every narcissist does do ghosting. They do practice ghosting. That's a form of control. Look it up, folks. I've spoken about it. There's plenty of people out there who are real experts on the thing when it comes to narcissistic personality. That is a strong trait of the narcissist. It's a form of control. To control the person's emotions, weaken a person's resolve, up and down, up and down, up and down. They have you going up and down, literally. And again, a ghoster, somebody doing ghosting someone, even if that's not their intent, like the narcissist, because the narcissist does it with great intent. Somebody who is unsure of themselves, happen to have they have a low self-esteem in a certain area of their life. They're not doing it with intention to hurt. They know it does hurt the person. That's why they think stay away for an amount of time. They'll get over it, and then I could come back in without having to admit any wrongdoing, because that'll make me feel even worse about myself. That is something a ghoster needs to handle. You need to have self-reflection. And if you don't see that at all, then I don't know what to tell you. If you're unable to have that introspection and realize what you're doing is really hurting others, giving people wrong ideas, whatever your intention is, especially when you make a public spectacle of it, a public spectacle of your affections. Whether you know, and what I see when people do that, they make big grand gestures of affection in public, and then they ghost you. To me, that's just an ego thing. For that moment, it felt good, so they wanted to do it. And then they realized, oh, you know what? No, not really. And then let me disappear and leave that person hanging, you know? So I just really want to put it out there because that seems to be some good-hearted people have this behavior and really need to go into some self-introspection to ask themselves why. Why do I do that over and over and over? Why do I behave this way? And then sit there and realize that you have a pattern of doing it. You have a history of doing it. It's not just a one-time. Rarely is it a one-time thing. It is a pattern of behavior because it is a defense mechanism. It is the way you handle situations. It's so easy to run away, but that ghost of that, you may be ghosting somebody. The ghost of what you did is always following you and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Have I forgiven ghosters? Yeah, I've forgiven ghosters. Does that mean that they're still in my life? No, not at all. Doesn't have to mean that. But it's a good way of cutting that karma, releasing that cord. Could you still release that cord from that person that ghosted you? Yeah, you could still do that. It just takes longer. And it's very difficult when the person rolls up on you after let's say a year and a half, and you don't even think the person still lives where they live. That's a shock to the system. That's a real damn shock to the system. And the way I react to it, I like to think of myself as a responder, but when something like that happens, it's deer in the headlights. And I have what you call this defense mechanism called resting bitch face. And it's not something done on purpose. It's something that literally just happens I thought you were dead. I mean, literally. It's just resting bitch face. And it can be scary. I've been told that my resting bitch face can be off-putting. It's a New York thing for real. Anyone who grew up in New York City itself, not out in the islands or upstate. I'm talking the city. Resting bitch face is really important, especially when taking public transportation. So look straight ahead, mind your own business, stay out of trouble, and you're good. Resting bitch face. Okay, so it's a defense mechanism. It's a knee-jerk reaction. I grew up with it. So it's not to say I'm not opening to listening. Okay, not opening up to forgiveness. It's just, again, when somebody is a ghoster and they come up to a ghostee after a long period of time, it's a shock to the system where you are just like squirrel. Ever you try crossing the road and the freaking squirrel, you see it running, you're like, okay, come on, squirrel, make it across the road, and the squirrel just freezes like that. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay, so I hope somebody finds this extremely helpful. Even if it helps one person, it was worth the video. Okay, QV out. Love you guys. Mwah, sugar. See? No more resting bitch face. I give sugar. Bye.